Chapter 1347. Looking at the thing in Gregory's hands, Gu Mengmeng was dumbfounded. Isn't this the wine barrel I placed in solder? Gu Mengmeng looked up at Gregory in surprise. Gregory placed the wine barrel at the side, then opened the lid and said, I have brought back some of the prey that you stored in solder. Gu Mengmeng remembered that when they flew from Solder to Mota Mountains, Gregory brought her, Elvis and Leah and flew for 3 days without rest. So during the 6 days Gregory disappeared. He went to Solder to get food for her? Gu Mengmeng lowered her head as she thought about how she scolded Gregory for the past 2 days. She felt rather guilty. Gu Mengmeng had not eaten for a day, so the moment Gregory placed the food down, the first thing Leah did was to check the food. After confirming that there was no problem, he immediately started to prepare it. Gregory looked at Elvis and Leah and said, You two can eat together. Elvis and Leah turned back to look at Gregory with obvious questions on their faces. Gregory said, I met a crippled snow fox in Solder. He gave me all these food. Crippled snow fox, Gu Mengmeng frowned. Cole went to Solder again. Damn it, he's really haunting me. No way, Hutta, Jiaoyu and Sandy are all in Solder. I have to go back. I have to go back now. Gregory took out a comb made from the horns of a gigantic beast. That fox asked me to pass this to you. He said he will guard Solder for you. When you return this to him. As long as this thing is intact, the Solder he returns to you will be intact. In other words, if this stupid comb was damaged, Solder would suffer a similar loss. If it was lost, he would massacre the entire Solder tribe? Gu Mengmeng said. Haha, this Cole is so arrogant. Could it be that he ate stinky tofu that was left overnight? He has to have the ability to massacre the entire tribe of Solder. Leah took the comb from Gregory's hands and gently stroked it. He frowned before passing it to Elvis. Take a look. Elvis took the comb in confusion and touched it. Then he sneered and said, Xiaomeng, the current Cole might really have such an ability. Gu Mengmeng was confused. She took the comb and touched it, but could not feel anything. She tilted her head and looked at Elvis in confusion. Leah hugged Gu Mengmeng and said, You are not sensitive to beast pressure, so you can't feel it. The remnant beast pressure here is at the level of a beast king. Gu Mengmeng was stunned. He got the spirit of the rocky cliffs? Leah remained silent for a moment before pursing his lips. It could also be the kiss of the ocean or the soul of the forest. Gu Mengmeng was stunned for 2 seconds before her eyes turned bloodshot. Gritting her teeth, she grabbed onto Gregory's arm and said, Send me to Solder now immediately. Leah hugged Gu Mengmeng and whispered into her ear, Mengmeng, calm down. How can I calm down? That bastard might have hurt my son. Chapter 1348. No, I can't be anxious here. I want to go back and find him now. Qixuan was a thorn in Gu Mengmeng's heart. As long as Cole touched him, Gu Mengmeng would lose her rationality. No matter how reasonable Li's analysis was, she could not calm down. Cole was a lunatic. Who could guarantee that a lunatic would weigh the pros and cons of doing things? Gregory looked at the agitated Gu Mengmeng and said slowly, He also said. Gu Mengmeng stopped struggling and allowed Leah to hug her. She then glared at Gregory with a face full of hatred, as if she could stare at Cole through him. Gregory actually felt a little creeped out by Gu Mengmeng's glare. On one hand, it was because Gu Mengmeng was the Beast King. On the other hand, try being stared at by a girl you like. If it was you, you would also feel creeped out. Pursing his lips, Gregory cleared his throat and continued. He said to let you spend the winter in Mota Mountains in peace. When the monsoon season comes next year, he will give you a big present. Rest your mother's balls. Gu Mengmeng pushed Leah away and grabbed Gregory's wrist again. Bring me back to Solder. I want to go back now. Gregory did not move. He just looked at Gu Mengmeng quietly. After a long while he shook his head. I still have the same words. If you want to go, you can go by yourself. I will not stop you. Gu Mengmeng grabbed her head and spun around on the spot. After 2 rounds, she pressed Gregory against the wall. If you don't bring me back, I will kill you. Gregory's lips curled up. He chuckled. Go ahead. Gu Mengmeng raised her hand and aimed at Gregory's heart. But no matter how angry or worried she was, Gu Mengmeng still had a bottom line. Grace had saved her life when she was in trouble. If she wanted to kill Grace, she would be biting the hand that fed her. She would be the frozen snake. Swinging her hand, Gu Mengmeng suddenly smiled. She looked at Gregory. I heard that you like me. Gregory's blood froze. He looked at Gu Mengmeng and frowned. The secret that he tried so hard to hide was exposed to the sunlight. It made his heart feel uncomfortable. Gu Mengmeng retreated step by step and chuckled. Send me back, or I will jump down from here. Even if I have the strength of a beast king, there's no saving me if I fall and turn into meat paste. Gregory frowned and his gaze drifted towards Elvis and Leah. He said coldly, if you jump down, the two of them will be the first to die with you. Gu Mengmeng raised her head and said, no, Elvis is a beast king and Leah is a 4th-level warrior. Both of them can withstand the backlash of the mating contract. Gu Mengmeng took another small step back and glared at Gregory with a face full of determination. Don't talk nonsense. I'm only asking you one question. Are you sending me back? Gregory still stood there without moving. He was betting that Gu Mengmeng was lying, betting that she could not bear to really jump down. Gu Mengmeng clenched her teeth and nodded. All right, don't regret it. With that, Gu Mengmeng's entire body leaned backwards and fell straight out. In that instant, the blood of the 3 males in the cave froze. Elvis's reaction was the fastest. He immediately flew out to pull Gu Mengmeng into his arms and hugged her tightly. Along with the howling cold wind, Elvis only said one sentence. If you want to die, I will accompany you. Chapter 1349. Because she was not afraid, Gu Mengmeng could clearly see that when she and Elvis were falling down, there was a white figure following their trajectory and falling down. It was Leah, smiling with a poignant beauty and arrogance, with sadness and agony, but not a single trace of fear. Gu Mengmeng's heart tugged at her. She wanted to avoid Lee's eyes, but realized that she could not shift her gaze away from his long and narrow eyes. Not even for a second. She was too rash. When Gregory said that the two of them would be buried with her, he was not referring to the backlash from the mating contract, but because if she died, the two of them would definitely not live on alone. She was really muddle-headed from anxiety. Her actions this time were indeed rash. But it seemed like it was too late to regret now. Chirp. A long chirp was heard, and before Gu Mengmeng could see clearly what had happened, she felt her body stop, and then, she did not fall down again, but moved horizontally. After circling one round, Leah appeared in front of her. Then the 3 of them moved upwards. Gu Mengmeng looked up and saw sharp claws as thick as steel bars digging into Elvis and Lee's flesh. But the 2 of them did not seem to feel anything, and just stared at Gu Mengmeng. Gu Mengmeng felt guilty from being stared at, and slowly lowered her head. Everything, from start to finish, did not take more than 3 minutes. But to the 4 of them, it felt as long as a lifetime. Returning back to the cave, Gregory threw Leah and Elvis in directly before sitting at the edge of the cave. He looked at Gu Mengmeng coldly and said, if you have the courage to jump again, I will only save one of your 2 partners. If you jump for the 3rd time, I will only save you. Gu Mengmeng ignored Gregory's warning, and just lowered her head to admit her mistake like a child who had done something wrong. She pinched Elvis's beast-skin dress lightly with 2 fingers, and said with a sobbing tone, Hubby, I was wrong. Elvis's brows were tightly furrowed, and he looked at Gu Mengmeng asking, have you calmed down now? Gu Mengmeng nodded, and answered with a nasal voice, yeah. Elvis pulled Gu Mengmeng back into his arms, and asked with a hoarse voice, how ruthless are you? That's why I had to watch you seek death in front of me again and again. It was the same last time. She smiled at him by the lake and said, thank you, goodbye. Then she lay down in the lake. This time it was the same. Just as Gu Mengmeng fell backwards, Elvis felt as if a razor had sliced through his ribs and stabbed into his heart. Even though he was hugging Gu Mengmeng like this, he could no longer feel his own heartbeat, and could not control the chills that spread all over his body. I was wrong. I was hot-headed and I'm sorry. Gu Mengmeng buried her face in Elvis's chest as tears rolled down her cheeks. She sobbed. I was too worried. Qixian has had a hard life since young, and has always been controlled by Cole. It wasn't easy for me to snatch him back. What if What if Cole really did something to Qi Xian? I can't control myself at the thought of this. I'm sorry Hubby, you're injured, let me treat your wound first. The words of reprimand were stuck in his throat, drowned out by Gu Mingming's tears. Elvis just shook his head and said, "It's just a small injury, as long as you're fine. No one can take my life." Chapter 1350. Leah had originally planned to not let Gu Mingming off so easily this time. Otherwise, this little woman would become more and more daring, and he did not know what she would do next time. But seeing her sobbing like she was about to suffocate, Lee's heart also throbbed painfully. Sighing, he walked to Gu Mingming's side and reached out his slender fingers to gently wipe away her tears. Gritting his teeth, he said, "You are taking advantage of the fact that we can't do anything to you, so you deliberately want to torture us like this, right?" Gu Mingming's shoulders trembled as she looked at Leah with pursed lips and reddened eyes. Shaking her head pitifully, she said, "I jumped down not to kill myself. I just wanted to force Gregory to send me back to solder. I never thought that you and Elvis would jump down after me." Leah was so angry that he pinched Gu Mingming's little nose harshly and said, "Don't you know how important you are to Elvis and me? All right, Gu Mingming, let me tell you, the moment I jumped down after you, I was thinking of the moment I landed on the ground. I need to be under you and die with you, just so that you won't feel so much pain before you fall to your death. Do you think that I won't jump down with you like this? MMM?" Elvis pushed Lee's hand away and frowned, saying, "She is already scared to death, don't say any more." Leah took a deep breath and turned to look at Elvis, saying, "Are you going to let her do whatever she wants just like that? Other things are fine, but she clearly promised us that she would protect herself for you and me and not let herself get hurt. She clearly knows that if she gets hurt even a little, it would be destroying our hearts. But what about her? When she jumped down from here, did she even think about our feelings? For Qi Xian. How many times has she abandoned us?" I said that's enough." Elvis's face was cold and his brows were filled with anger. Leah nodded and smiled bitterly, saying, "Your indulgence will cause her to die sooner or later. If I had known earlier, I would not have given up the position of the first partner to you for the sake of the bigger picture. I should have brought her far away and hidden her. Then there would be no Cole, no Qi Xian, and she would not jump across the lake and then the cliff." Elvis hugged Gu Mingming with one hand and raised his other hand to strangle Lee's neck. His wolf eyes were a deep blue, surging with a mysterious aura. He exuded a dangerous aura. "I warned you before, don't challenge the authority of the first partner." Gu Mingming had never seen Elvis and Leah fight when they were sober. The two of them always had the same tacit understanding and had the same goal. They had once fought each other in a drunken stupor, and even acted out a conflict to deceive Cole. But based on her understanding of Elvis and Leah, she could clearly tell that the two of them were really going against each other, and they were both angry. And it was obvious that she was the one who had angered them, and they couldn't bear to lose their temper on her, so they vented their anger on each other. Gu Mingming held onto Elvis's wrist and said, Hubby, don't be angry, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have fooled around on impulse. I won't dare to do it again. I really won't. Hurry and let go. If you don't, Leah will be strangled to death by you." Elvis's gaze was fixed on Gu Mingming. His thin lips were pressed into a straight line, and the complicated look in his eyes made Gu Mingming's heart ache. Chapter 1351. If you are still angry, then hit me. I have the power of a beast king. I can take more hits. As Gu Mingming said, she stretched out her little hand with her palm facing upwards. She shrank her neck back to hide, looking at Elvis with a fearful yet unwilling expression. Elvis took a deep breath and let go of Lee's neck. He held Gu Mingming's little hand tightly and said, "You're a little liar. You didn't do a single thing that you promised me." Gu Mingming looked at Elvis. Gu Mingming knew she was in the wrong and did not dare to retort. She just nodded and said, "Yeah, I am a liar." Elvis did not know whether to laugh or cry at her behavior. He sighed and the turbid air in his chest dissipated. Gu Mingming saw that Elvis's expression had improved, and she turned to look at Leah. She tugged at his arm and said, "Good Leah, I know you are angry with me. I was rash and jumped without thinking about the consequences. But as soon as I jumped down, I regretted it. When I saw your disappointed and sorrowful eyes looking at me, my heart ached terribly. I really won't dare to do it again. Please forgive me this time, okay? Just this once. Leah looked at Gu Mengmeng and asked, "Can your words still be trusted?" Little liar. We can believe it, we can believe it. Gu Mengmeng held onto Li's arm and pleaded pitifully with her little face up. I have decided to repent and turn over a new leaf, really. I will not lie in the future. Could her promise be trusted? Leah knew in his heart that it could not be trusted at all. Once this girl was involved with someone she cared about, she would lose her rationality and act without caring about the consequences. But what else could he do even if he did not believe her? He could not let her go, could not bear to part with her, and could not do anything to her. After all, how was he different from her? When he saw her jump into the cave, he also could not think about anything else, and only wanted to follow her through life and death. He grabbed onto Gu Mingming's shoulders and pulled her into his arms tightly. Both of them knew very well how much unease that seemingly punishing force brought. Then tell me, how can I trust you? When you met Qi Xian, when did you not consider the consequences? Gu Mingming allowed Leah to hug her tightly. She knew that this was the only way for him to calm his fear. She did not struggle and instead hugged him back gently. Her soft body leaned against Li's chest and she replied softly, "Then don't I still have a partner who is the wisest person in the world? In the future, if we encounter something like this, I will leave it to you to make arrangements. I believe that you will have a solution, right? There's no use in bootlicking." Li's lips curved into a helpless smile. Why couldn't the words he used to criticize Elvis be used on himself? They could not do anything to this little woman. If this continued, she would become unruly sooner or later. Forget it, let her be. As long as he and Elvis were a little stronger, strong enough to protect her, it would be good. In this beast world, which female would not act recklessly? All right. Every word was worth 1,000 taels of gold. This was a promise. After coaxing Elvis and Leah, Gu Mingming's heart finally calmed down. Meanwhile, the three of them had completely ignored Gregory, who was standing at the entrance of the cave and watching everything coldly. Chapter 1352. That speed had already exceeded his own limits. Clearly, he was most proficient in the air. Jumping down from this height, he had enough time to catch her during the fall. He could even watch her fall for a while longer to teach her a lesson. But he did not even give himself any time to think. He dashed out like an arrow released from a bow. He even lost his sense of propriety. His iron claws had already grabbed onto Elvis, but he still felt uneasy. He was afraid that his grip would not be firm enough and Elvis and Gu Mingming would fall. The wound on Elvis's back was the best proof that he had lost his sense of propriety. He did not know how much less worried he was than Elvis and Leah. He only knew that he did not dare to take a single step away from the edge of the cave, because he was afraid that she would jump again. He said that if she jumped again, he would only save one partner. If she jumped a second time, he would not save any of them. But he did not dare to say that if she jumped a third time, he would not even save her. Even if it was just to threaten her, he could not say it. But she coaxed the two partners who had died with her with gentle words, but did not even look at the person who had saved her life. She jumped off the cliff to force him to send her back to solder. She admitted that she dared to jump because she was sure that he liked her and would definitely save her. Should he be glad that she trusted him? Ha! But other than trust, she would not give him anything else. And this trust, she was only using it to force him to send her back. Did he still not understand? Did he not understand? There was no place for him in her heart. The pride of the vulture tribe had probably been crushed by her murderous gaze at the edge of Sauter's territory. Actually, it was so easy for him to send her back. As long as she accepted him, he would naturally not force her to stay in this cave. But she would rather die than keep him by her side to accompany her. Gregory thought. Perhaps he could understand why the stray beasts were so afraid of her. Because when she decided to be ruthless, she was far more heartless than the stray beasts. It was not that Gu Mengmeng did not feel Gregory's burning gaze. She did not want to make use of other people's feelings, but this matter concerned Qi Xian, and she had no other choice. What he owed Gregory was, in the end, still owed. Gu Mingming sighed softly, then leaned into Li's arms. She lowered her head and asked softly, "Are you still in pain?" Li's injuries were more serious than Elvis's, or it could be said that due to the difference in their abilities, the healing speed was different. The bloody wound on Elvis's back had almost healed, but Li's wound was still bleeding. Leah held on to Gu Mingming's little hand and placed it on his chest. Then he answered solemnly, "It hurts. It's so painful that I can't die, yet I don't want to live." Gu Mingming kissed Li's chest lightly and said, "I won't let you feel this pain again." "All right." Leah hugged Gu Mingming and sighed before continuing, "Be good and rest here for another 20 days. After 20 days, I will bring you back to solder, all right?" Gu Mingming looked up at Leah and asked, "You have a solution?" Leah chuckled. "You already said that I am the wisest person in the beast world. I can't let you down. In order for you to trust me enough and think of me to solve any problems in the future instead of fooling around, I must have a solution, right?" Gu Mingming lowered her head and did not say another word. Chapter 1353. Gregory looked at Gu Mingming worriedly, but did not say a word or move. Leah chuckled and said, "Don't worry, Xiaoming doesn't treasure her own life but regards Elvis and I as precious. For the both of us, she won't do anything foolish again." Leah said this with enough certainty that made Gregory feel at ease and extremely jealous at the same time. Gregory did not stay any longer and just transformed into a vulture. He used his claws to grab Leah out of the cave and flew into a cave on another mountain. This cave had a completely different style from the one Gu Mingming was in now. There was a forest of strange rocks and dilapidated cliffs, giving the illusion of being in the mouth of a devil. But Leah did not mind too much. After all, it was just a place to talk and it was fine as long as Gu Mingming could not hear them. "Cole must have promised you something, right?" Leah leaned against the wall casually and calmly. He smiled at Gregory and said, "You don't have to deny it. You and I are both males and we both wanted Gu Mingming, but could not get her. If there's anyone in the beast world who can understand your current feelings, it's probably me. Because only I know how ruthless she can be when she sets her heart on something." She did not even say a word of rejection, but could use her gaze and actions to torture us to the point where there's nothing left unscathed. But, even though it's as painful as a million ants drilling into our hearts, we can't help but continue to approach her while screaming in pain. Gregory's jaw tightened into a right angle. He did not say a word, neither admitting nor denying. But only he knew that what Leah said was right. Gu Mingming's attempt to please and comfort Elvis and Leah just now was more hurtful than 100 sharp rejections. "It's precisely because I've experienced this that I understand your current state very well. Logically speaking, you should be in a situation where you're trying your best to please her. You don't even need her to make a request. You'll want to present the best in the world to her, just so that she'll look at you a little longer. But you rejected her request and gave up the chance for her to be indebted to you. This was not an easy thing to do, after all. Even Elvis and I would find it extremely difficult to say no in front of her. And you actually did it. So the only logical explanation is that you have a greater temptation of benefits. For example, someone promised you that as long as you trap Mingming here for the winter, she will willingly mate with you. You can even replace me or Elvis and become the most important person by Mingming's side." Gregory's pupils constricted, and his brows furrowed indiscernibly. Leah chuckled. Looks like I guessed correctly. Did he also tell you that Elvis's mark was on Mingming's collarbone, while mine was on her left ear, so her heart was still empty? And he has the ability to help you leave your mark there." Gregory clenched his fist. Although the wording was different, the meaning was exactly the same. If not for the fact that foxes could never fly, Gregory would have suspected that Leah was hiding in the dark and spying on him. This fox was too terrifying. Leah waved his hands and said, "Don't be so nervous, I just know him too well." Chapter 1354. Although you have only met him once, you can't tell his intentions and greed towards Mingming, right? Leah chuckled as he shook his head. Taking a step back, even if you can't see through his true nature as a male, If you were in his shoes, would you help another male to occupy the spot in the female's heart that you want? Gregory clenched his fists and instinctively avoided Lee's eyes. How could he not know what Leah was saying? He was just deceiving himself and others, holding on to a sliver of hope that, what if? Leah waved his tail and mercilessly exposed the fluke in Gregory's heart. As someone who has been through it, I can tell you clearly that my Meng Meng is amenable to coaxing but not coercion. No schemes are as effective as treating her well wholeheartedly. As for what that crippled fox promised you, I can guarantee, he can't do it and no one else in this world can do it. Leah lifted his head and smiled calmly. They were clearly of similar height and Gregory was slightly more muscular. But at that moment, he felt that Leah was high and mighty, like a deity in the clouds looking down at the lovesick men and resentful women in the mortal world. He gave off a sense of detachment and Gregory could not help but believe his words. Leah said, "Cast aside your unrealistic fantasies and think about it seriously. If Elvis and I don't allow it, who can get close to Meng Meng?" Gregory remained silent, but he knew very well that Lee's words were right. Based on Lee's and Elvis's abilities, no one could get close to Gu Meng Meng if they did not allow it. Leah took 2 steps to stand behind Gregory and placed one hand on his shoulder. He whispered into his ear from the other side. "You have already sensed it, right? Back then, you were able to hang around Meng Meng because I opened the door for you. But if you bring any dirty things near Meng Meng when you enter through this door, I can only close the door. This is the Mota Mountains." Gregory straightened his spine and said. What he meant was that without him, they would not even be able to leave that cave. Even Leah could not return to Gu Meng Meng's side. Leah chuckled and nodded. "That's right, this is the Mota Mountains. In other words, you are not the only one who can fly here. There was probably no lack of winged beasts here. Tell me, how difficult can it be for me to find someone who is willing to serve the messenger of the beast deity?" Grace frowned and lowered her head. That's right, among the tens of thousands of birds, how many could resist Elvis's threats, Lee's temptations and Gu Meng Meng's beauty? The Eagle Owl tribe was once one of the guards of the Mota Mountains. Now the entire tribe followed Gu Meng Meng's lead, and were completely loyal. But she did not even have a single Eagle Owl tribe partner by her side. She could easily subdue the Eagle Owl clan, and the other birds on Mota Mountains. Even his heart that was once as firm as a rock could not stop palpitating because of her. It would be even more difficult for others to resist her charm. As long as she beckoned with her finger, not to mention sending her back to Sauter. Even if she had to use pairs of wings to form a bridge for her to walk back to Sauter. These birds would not hesitate to break off their own wings to fulfill her wish. Chapter 1355. What do you want me to do? Gregory asked concisely. Leah gently brushed away the non-existent dust on Gregory's shoulder, then rubbed his fingers and smiled. It's nothing special. You just have to make sure that Meng Meng doesn't suffer in that cave for the next 20 days, and send the 3 of us back to Sauter safely after 20 days. As long as you can do that, I guarantee that you can continue staying by Meng Meng's side. Of course, whether she likes you or not, whether she is willing to accept you, will depend on your own abilities and luck. All right. Gregory had no other choice, right? Leah nodded his head in satisfaction and said, Since we've spoken, let's go back. I haven't seen my Meng Meng for a while, and I miss her very much. Gregory ignored Lee's pretentious boasting and just grabbed onto his ankle as if he was taking revenge, hanging him upside down and bringing him back to Gu Meng Meng's cave. Seeing that Leah had returned, Gu Meng Meng hurriedly went up to him and turned his body around to check the wound on his back. Seeing that the wound had not reopened, she heaved a sigh of relief and said, What were you whispering about, carrying me? Leah placed an arm on Gu Meng Meng's shoulder and smiled devilishly, saying, Didn't he say that he will only save your partner if you jump off the cliff again? Let me discuss with him and ask him to only save Elvis next time. It will only be clean if I fall to my death, so that he doesn't have to worry about you every day. Leah, Gu Meng Meng called out Lee's name as if she was begging for mercy, causing Lee's heart to flutter. He pinched her little face but could not do anything to her. He could only kiss her and say, I don't have a good temper like Elvis. I won't let this matter go so easily. You must be mentally prepared. Wait till you get the love of the sky. I will settle the score with you. Do you understand? Settle the score after getting the love of the sky. Gu Mingming thought about it. She was preparing to give birth to little foxes after getting the love of the sky, so Leah was planning to settle the score with her when they were making babies. Was that what he meant? Gu Mingming blushed and lightly hammered Lee's chest. You're not serious at all. Leah allowed Gu Mingming's weightless fists to land lightly on his chest, allowing her to hit him coquettishly. Seeing how she was behaving coquettishly in his arms, Lee's gaze was filled with joy. Fortunately, she was fine. Fortunately. As long as she could continue to be so presumptuous in his arms, he could let go of everything. He held Gu Mingming's little fist gently, then lowered his head to kiss her left ear. Gregory saved the three of us once again. We already owe him 6 times for saving our lives. This debt. How do you intend to repay him? Gu Mingming's expression changed. Gu Mingming pursed her lips and peeked her furry little head out from Lee's arms. She looked at Gregory, who was standing at the entrance with a face full of ice, and felt a little guilty. How should she put it? At that time, blood rushed to her head, and she jumped down without a care. But now that he looked back at Gregory, he didn't have much confidence. After all, Grace was not her partner, and he had no obligation to accommodate her nonsense. Chapter 1356. Gregory pursed his lips and did not say a word. Gu Mingming also felt that only sticking out half her head looked insincere, so she took 2 steps out from Lee's arms and walked towards Gregory. But she had only taken the 3rd step when Gregory's expression changed. He frowned and said coldly, "Stand there, don't move." Gu Mingming was shocked by Gregory's roar. She remained motionless as if she had stepped on a landmine, looking at Gregory in confusion. Gregory realized that he had overreacted. Gu Mingming obviously did not want to jump off the cliff again. Feeling slightly awkward, he turned his face to the side but could not say a word. Leah stood behind Gu Mingming and exchanged a look with Elvis, laughing at how this Gregory was obviously a hot-tempered brat who had just awakened his first love. Wanting to win Gu Mingming's heart with his skills. It was a long road ahead. Leah pulled Gu Mingming back into his arms and pecked her little face, saying, "Rather than saying sorry 100 times, why not do something that's not wrong? Moreover, it's too childish to write off a life-saving debt with just 2 words of thank you." Gu Mingming thought about it and agreed. She turned to look at Leah and asked, "What about you?" Leah tapped his chin and said, "He saved our family of 3 twice, that's equivalent to 6 lives. We will return him 6 lives, that's only fair." Gu Mingming tilted her head and looked at Leah. She thought for a moment, then nodded seriously and said, "How about this? I owe you 6 lives. If you have anyone you want to kill, tell me and I will help you kill all 6 as repayment. How about that?" Leah and Gregory were both taken aback. Leah face-bombed while trying to hide his smile. Gregory's face froze and he said, "I am a male but I want to rely on a female to kill for me? You." Gu Mingming covered her mouth and thought to herself, "I forgot. This beast world has severe gender discrimination. In some matters, humans are even more straight men than straight men." Gu Mingming used her elbow to poke Leah and said, "It's all your rotten idea." Leah smiled bitterly and helplessly and said, "I said I will return him 6 lives, but who said I will kill for him?" Then, Gu Mingming was confused. Leah tapped Gu Mingming's little nose and said, "Doesn't Sauter still have a gift for the birds on the Moda Mountains?" "Gift? Miranda." Gu Mingming's eyes lit up and Leah knew that she had thought of something. He continued, "Besides Miranda, we can go to other tribes to exchange for 5 females and send them to the Moda Mountains. In this way, wouldn't it be equivalent to 6 lives of Gregory's leader?" Gu Mingming nodded. "Yeah, this is a good idea. Not only did I return the favor, I also solved the problem of reproduction in Moda Mountains." Leah glanced at Gregory and said slowly, "It's just that it's not easy to exchange females. After all, unless a female committed a grave mistake, no tribe would sell her off easily. So we'll have to trouble leader Gregory to stay in Sauter for a while. After we've found all 6 females and returned your favor, you can return to Moda Mountains." Leader Gregory, what do you think? How could Gregory not understand? This was what Leah said. A way for him to stay by Gu Mingming's side legitimately. Nodding, Gregory said, "All right." Chapter 1357. It was easy to borrow a favor, but hard to repay it. Now that Leah had come up with this idea, it was the best of both worlds. Gu Mingming felt that the burden on her heart had lessened by a lot. Leah chuckled as he looked at Gu Mingming's relieved look. This girl really wanted to make things clear with Gregory, and was not willing to accept his attentiveness for free. This meant that Gu Mingming really did not have any feelings for Gregory, so she did not even give him a chance to show off. As such, he felt more at ease leaving Gregory by Gu Mingming's side. Come to think of it, he was just another Burke. Every day, Gu Mingming would use a small stone to draw a line on the wall. In the blink of an eye, 20 days had passed. It was the coldest time of the winter, but Gu Mingming insisted on returning to solder. Elvis and Leah knew that Gu Mingming couldn't stop worrying about Qixian. She had already endured so much for the past 20 days, so they didn't want to force her. They would accompany her through the wind and snow. As long as she could be at ease and happy, that was enough. It was not difficult for Gregory to travel through the wind and snow. He did not want to bring her back because he wanted to spend more time with her, and also because of Cole's empty promise. Now that he had formed an alliance with Leah and Leah had given him a reason to stay by Gu Mingming's side, he naturally had no need to force Gu Mingming to stay in Moda Mountains. After all, if she really jumped off the cliff again, he would probably go crazy before anything happened to her. Originally, Gregory wanted to carry Gu Mingming on his back and bring Elvis and Leah back with his claws, but Gu Mingming was unwilling. She said that it was a special situation when they came, and they had to act according to the urgency of the situation. Although it was also a rush to go back now, it was not as panicky as when they came. There was no reason for Gregory to carry her on his back again. Actually, everyone knew very well that Gu Mingming had made use of the fact that Gregory liked her and forced him into a corner, so she had a knot in her heart. Now that she had exposed the truth, they had to be extra careful when interacting with each other. Gregory knew that she was stubborn and it was useless to force her, so he could only listen to her. The final outcome was that Lee's body was relatively smaller, and he curled up in the wooden pail to hug Gu Mingming. Gregory grabbed onto the edge of the wooden pail to bring the two of them along, while Elvis hugged onto Gregory's claws himself. Hence, 3 days later, a strange scene appeared in the sky above Solder. A spiritual eagle was flying in the sky with a wolf on its leg and a wooden bucket in its claws. Something was moving in the snow, but Gu Mingming could not see it clearly as it was too far away. But when she landed on the ground, Gu Mingming only saw one person standing in front of the stone castle with his hands behind his back. The door of the stone castle was pushed open, and there was a fire burning in the house, but it could not warm up this silver-white world. The person standing at the door was none other than Cole. His silver hair fluttered in the wind, and his lips curled into a smile. He did not seem to care about the snowstorm and coldness at all. His eyes were filled with love as he said, "Agu, welcome back." Gu Mingming squinted at Cole and sneered, "You're not afraid of me?" Chapter 1358. Gu Mingming was indeed extremely cold, so she didn't argue and directly entered the stone castle. Elvis and Leah followed closely behind. Gregory hesitated for a moment, but still followed. After all, if anything happened in the snowstorm, it would be more advantageous for Gu Mingming if he was around. Cole completely didn't care about their attitudes and just acted like he was the owner. "The water for the bath is ready. Agu, do you want to take a bath first or eat something first?" Gu Mingming sat by the fire to warm her hands. She looked up at Cole. "Congratulations on becoming a beast king." Cole smiled with his eyes squinted. He reached out his hands and said, "Yes, this is something worth congratulating." Agu, look, after becoming a beast king, this broken hand actually grew back. This way, no one will dare to laugh at you for having a handicapped male. Gu Mingming's gaze landed on that pair of hands. Her expression was cold. "That's such a pity. I used to feel relieved every time I saw your disgusting broken hand." Cole smiled. "Silly Agu, if you want to vent your anger." No matter how many times you break it, I will let you break it. Here, take it. Gu Mingming looked at the hand that Cole was offering to her. She took a step back and leaned into Elvis's arms. She looked at Cole coldly and said, I braved the wind and snow to rush back, not to talk nonsense with you. Tell me, what did you do to Qi Xian? Cole shook his head regretfully and said, Agu, you are too impatient. Aren't you clearly telling me that you are worried about Qi Xian, and that if I want to threaten you, I will use Qi Xian? Gu Mingming's face darkened. A trace of beast pressure leaked out, but Cole gestured for her to keep quiet. Your beast pressure can't kill me now, but the two of them don't look very strong. I wonder if they can withstand the beast pressure of 3 beast kings? Gu Mingming frowned. She calmed herself down and glanced at Leah. She didn't say anything else. She promised Leah that she would let him handle any problems. She would not act recklessly again. Only then did Leah give a gratified smile. He gently stroked Gu Mingming's silky hair and said, Mingming, you really did not bathe properly these few days in Mota Mountains. Since the water is ready, you can go upstairs and take a comfortable bath. I'll take care of things here, be good. Gu Mingming nodded and said, Let Elvis stay behind to accompany you. Leah shook his head and hugged Gu Mingming's waist. He planted a kiss on her forehead and said, You are my Achilles heel. I can only be at ease when the strongest armor is protecting you. Gu Mingming's eyes widened. But, Gu Mingming glanced at Cole. She felt that she had to guard against him. Leah chuckled. Even if Elvis is here, he can't stop the beast pressure, right? That's right, Cole was now a beast king. If he wanted to kill Leah, he just needed to release his beast pressure. Even Elvis wouldn't be able to withstand his beast pressure. Nodding, Gu Mingming kissed Lee's chin and said, Then I will go up, be careful. Go. Leah returned a kiss on the top of Gu Mingming's head. Then he watched as she reluctantly followed Elvis up the stairs. Then the smile on Lee's face turned into a deceitful one. King of the Snow Fox clan, now even I can't go against your orders, right? Lee's smile turned into a mask. King of the Snow Fox clan, now even I cannot go against your orders, right? Aside, I know everyone is disgusted with Cole, but this time he came out. Yeah, he couldn't do anything bad. Instead, he was prepared to be tortured. So, Chapter 1359. Cole did not deny it and looked at Gu Mingming's back view greedily. He curled his lips and said, My first order as the Fox King is for you to kill Elvis. Can you do it? Leah nodded his head in all seriousness. Then he suddenly laughed and said, You want Elvis and me to kill each other and then force Gu Mingming to break down in pain. When she is mentally weak, you will take advantage of her weakness and use the bewitching spell to control her mind and make her your puppet. Cole seemed to think that this idea was not bad. He nodded and said, Yeah, Ninth Brother's idea is to my liking. But Leah waved his hands and said, It's so easy to kill Elvis and me. As long as Agu says the word, Elvis and I will definitely sacrifice our lives to kill you for her. With just you still dare to spout nonsense in front of me? Cole narrowed his eyes and said threateningly. But Leah looked nonchalant and said, Your skills have always been above mine. You don't have to wait until you become the Beast King to kill me. You could have dug out my heart with one claw back then. Aren't you keeping me to enjoy the fun of trampling on me? After so many years of nurturing, you finally revealed your sharp claws and fangs. Are you willing to let me die so easily? Cole suddenly laughed. He pointed his finger and said with a trembling finger, In this world, only Ninth Brother understands me the best. You will climb back up from where you fell. I am not surprised that you returned to Sauter. But, now that the Wolf clan has migrated here, if you want to take back this territory, you will definitely have to fight the Fox clan and Wolf clan. Not to mention the difference in fighting skills between the Fox clan and the Wolf clan. They not only have Elvis the Wolf King, but also Gu Mingming the Snake King. Your chances of winning are not high. Smart Alec. Cole snorted in disdain and said, Sauter is a gift from me to Agu. How can I snatch back something that I have already given away? Gift. Leah narrowed his eyes. Cole said, Why do you think those old things in the Elders' Council would listen to Agu obediently and not dare to create any trouble. Do they really think that your highness has such high prestige that you can suppress those old fellows? Leah understood and chuckled. No wonder Oakley's plot was completely crushed by you. So that's why. I see. No, that's not all. Cole walked in front of Leah and placed his newly grown hand on Lee's shoulder. Do you think the people from the 16 tribes are fools? Would you be willing to listen to that lynx Oakley and go against me? Let me tell you, it's not like that. I was the one who bullied them while Oakley was mobilizing them, allowing the stray beasts to snatch their females or harm their children, killing their brothers and parents, forcing them to collude with Oakley. In order to give the 16 tribes to Agu, I spent so much effort to force everyone to kill me. Cole placed both hands on Lee's shoulders and pondered seriously. Tell me, what were you and Elvis doing when I was planning for Agu? Coaxing Agu to play around. In the story passed down by the messenger, the two of you should be called a demon concubine bringing disaster to the country. I am Agu's pillar of support, helping her to expand her territory. Chapter 1360. Cole did not seem to be annoyed and just nodded in agreement. That's right, pet beasts should behave like pet beasts. With your seductive figure, you should serve Agu well and make her happy every day. Because once she gets sick of you one day, I will not hesitate to torture and slaughter you. So you should work hard to win Agu's favor. That is the right thing to do. Leah laughed coldly and looked at Cole with disdain. What status are you using to say such things to me? Don't tell me you are treating yourself as Ming Ming's first partner? Let me remind you, my Ming Ming hates dirty things the most. Cole said, whatever you say. Anyway, Agu likes you now, so I will not kill you. I don't mind if you want to make a fuss. I have heard many worse things. Your level is not enough to provoke me. Leah swayed his tail and sat by the bonfire to warm his hands. If he wanted to hug Ming Ming after she finished her bath, his hands could not be cold. He looked at Cole from the corner of his eyes. Flesh regrown from white bones. A broken hand can grow back. You must have taken the soul of the forest from Qishuan's body. That's right. Cole admitted without reservation. Leah shook his head in exasperation. You know that Ming Ming hates it the most when you touch Qixuan, but you still want to step on her most untouchable spot. Good luck to you. I'm afraid that you won't be able to wait until the day Ming Ming hates me. You'll be killed by her first. As they spoke, the sound of a door being pushed open came from upstairs. Leah thought it was Gu Ming Ming coming out after her bath, but he frowned when he looked up. It was not Gu Ming Ming, but Miranda, who had walked out from the room on the far left of the corridor on the second floor. Miranda kept walking along the edge of the wall. It was a sign of extreme unease. Her eyes kept trembling, as if she was losing focus. She did not know if it was because of her psychological fear or physical weakness, but her entire body was swaying, as if she would collapse at any moment if she did not support herself against the wall. She walked towards Leah blindly. Aya, you're back. I've been waiting for you. I've been waiting. Leah frowned and did not look at Miranda. Instead, he looked at Cole and said, unless the bait is Ming Ming, beauty traps will not work on me. Besides, Ming Ming has already seen through this trick. Are you still not going to give up? Cole shook his head and clicked his tongue. My ninth brother, you have wronged me. This is not a trap. This is my gift to you. Leah looked at Cole with a faint smile and did not say a word. Cole continued to explain. Don't you want to quickly advance to the 5th level and activate the Beast King bloodline? Are you willing to be suppressed by that wolf for the rest of your life? Leah sneered. Don't tell me that Miranda is a wholly nourishing object and that eating her will help me level up. Cole frowned and said with a wretched expression, Ninth brother, you really don't know how to be tender towards women. Eating her will not allow you to level up, but sleeping with her will allow you to level up. Leah took a step back in disgust. Even the smile on his face could not hide his disdain. He said, then I have really let down the Fox King's good intentions. Other than Ming Ming, I can't get hard on other females. Chapter 1361. Because mating with her once is equivalent to fighting to the death with an orc of the same level. As Cole spoke, he walked to Miranda's side and grabbed her hair, pulling her into his arms. He stuck out his tongue and licked along Miranda's neck, stopping at her chin. He did not touch her lips and only said, "Moreover, the children she gives birth to, that is the most delicious nourishment in the beast world. Have you forgotten? Your father was only a third-level beast when he first got her. After imprisoning her for a period of time, he rose to 4th level. Then after a rainy season, he rose to 5th level. A rainy season, over 60 days, and the gestation period of the Snow Fox tribe is exactly 52 days. Don't you think it's a coincidence?" Lee's face was pale and his gaze was filled with indescribable depression. He had thought that his father's obsession with Miranda was because he was tricked by Cole's bewitching spell during the mass estrus period. But he did not expect that it was actually like this. Leah narrowed his eyes and said, "So father did not die of anger because I appeared on her bed, right?" Cole laughed out loud and said, "Of course not. A 5th-level beast will die of anger? Why don't you say that he died of laughter because of you?" "So how exactly did he die?" Leah pressed on. Cole pinched Miranda's chin and said, "Come, tell your lover how his beast father died." Miranda pursed her lips and did not speak. Her eyes were filled with fear and unease. She shook her head at Leah with a pleading look, as if begging him not to ask and not to listen. "Speak." Following Cole's low growl, Miranda was pushed to the ground harshly. Like a butterfly with broken wings, she fell to the ground beside Leah in a pathetic manner. Tears streamed down her face and her entire body was trembling. Leah glanced sideways and finally looked Miranda in the eye. He said, "Tell me honestly what you know or else." Leah only glanced at her coldly and Miranda's body completely shrunk, as if her soul had been sucked out. After all, no matter how Cole treated her, he could only torture her body. But Leah was someone she had liked since she was young. Even though Leah had never given her a good look, she had been looking forward to it for so many years. Countless torturous days and nights were spent thinking about Lee's face before she clenched her teeth and endured it. Some people could suffocate you just by mentioning his name. Just one look from him could make you tremble in fear. Miranda slowly closed her eyes, turned her face to the side, and replied in a trembling voice, "It was me when we were mating. I gouged out his heart." "And then?" Cole asked with a sly smile. Chapter 1362. The more Miranda spoke, the more agitated she became. In the end, she completely lost control. It was as if blood was flowing out of her eyes instead of tears. She grabbed onto Leah tightly, her sharp nails digging into Lee's arms. She widened her eyes and roared with a hideous expression. "He snatched everything from me, and all I wanted was you. He didn't give it to me, not give it to me. Then I can only kill him, kill. Kill, kill, kill." Cole sat opposite Leah and warmed his hands. He said nonchalantly, "Miranda, didn't I tell you how a female should be liked by others?" The moment Miranda heard Cole's voice, her entire body froze. Then her facial expression started to change in a strange, uncoordinated, stiff and distorted manner. After a full 3 to 5 minutes, Miranda finally managed to control her expression. She was once again a timid and pitiful little white flower. Her voice had also become soft, as though she would be scared to tears if you coughed once. I just want to be with you. Everything I've done is to be with you. Really." Leah stood up from beside Miranda. He did not say anything and just walked straight upstairs. Gu Mingming's room was furthest to the right of the 2nd floor. In the same building, no matter how good the soundproofing was, there was still a limit. Even if the two Beast Kings did not intend to eavesdrop, it was hard for them not to hear Miranda shouting so loudly. Leah pushed the door open and looked at Gu Mingming. Then he walked past her and directly stepped into the bathtub. Gu Mingming had been bathing for a long time, and the water was already completely cold. Gu Mingming ran over worriedly and leaned against the side of the bathtub. She looked at Leah with her watery eyes, which were so clear that she could see the bottom. Her heart ached for him. "Leah, the water is already cold. Stop soaking in it, you will catch a cold." Lee's entire body was soaked in the water. He ignored Gu Mingming, as if he wanted to drown himself. Gu Mingming was worried and wanted to reach out to pull Leah out. But before her fingertips could touch the water, Leah sat up abruptly. He reached out to grab Gu Mingming's wrist, but stopped a finger's distance away. After hesitating for a long time, he slowly put his hand down and lowered his head. The water is cold, don't touch it. But my man is in cold water. Gu Mingming grabbed onto Li's dangling wrist and pulled it back. Then she pressed it against her face and said, "A drenched fox is not allowed to get on the bed. Turn around and squeeze the water out, then come out and hug me, all right?" Leah wanted to retract his hand, but he was greedy for the softness and warmth of his fingertips. His eyes were filled with a complicated conflict and struggle. Turning his face away, he said dejectedly, "I finally convinced myself that I can stay by your side even if I'm dirty. But I didn't know that my own race was far worse than I imagined. So disgusting. Why am I a snow fox? I'm so disgusted." She wanted to hug Leah but was stopped by Elvis. Elvis circled one arm around Gu Mingming's waist, while the other reached into the bathtub to pull Leah out and throw him to the side. "Change your body and get rid of the water. Xiaoming just finished showering. Don't get her wet again." Leah rolled around on the ground in a disheveled manner. Then, seeing how Gu Mingming was about to pounce on him without a care, he instinctively followed Elvis's instructions. Chapter 1363. You're my husband, I'm not disgusting. Gu Mingming pounced into Li's arms. Leah transformed back into his human form and hugged Gu Mingming, looking at her uneasily with his slanted eyes. "Will you abandon me?" "I won't." Gu Mingming looked at Leah and promised solemnly, "I know I often go back on my words, so you and Elvis call me a little liar, but I will never lie to you guys about this. I, Gu Mingming, only have a deceased husband, no ex-husband." "Gu Mingming." Leah hesitated for a moment but still hugged Gu Mingming tightly. "I know I'm selfish, I clearly have such dirty blood flowing in my body, but I still refuse to let you off. I can do anything, really. Beast pets, guardian beasts, even food. I only beg for one thing, don't abandon me. I'm not afraid of pain, I'm not afraid of death, but I'm afraid of not having you. You won't be without me, I will always be by your side." Gu Mingming pressed her face against Li's chest and said softly, "Humans can't choose their own birth. We can't decide who our parents are, what kind of weird relatives we have. This is our original sin, but you can't be blamed. After all, you don't have the right to reject. But those evildoers are not you. You didn't imprison Miranda. You didn't force her to mate. You didn't even eat her children like a lunatic. You're not the one who did those things. Why do you have to blame yourself?" Leah shook his head. "I'm not blaming myself, I'm feeling inferior. You're like the sun, your whole body is glowing while I'm getting more and more unbearable. Leah, do you still remember me telling you that you're my first love?" Gu Mingming's words were like a warm breeze, intoxicating him. Leah nodded. "I remember, you said that first love is the most unforgettable and beautiful feeling. We're each other's first love." Li's words were unintentional, but Elvis, who was sitting quietly at the side, heard it. His heart sank. The word first love was like a heavy boulder smashing down on him. The last time he accompanied Gu Mingming to meet the beast deity, he met Snake from another world. He seemed to have become Xiaoming's first love in that world. This world had Leah, that world had Snake, but only he, her first partner, would never become her first love. Gu Mingming's attention was all on Leah, so she did not care about Elvis's feelings. She just laid in Li's arms gently and said, "In our world there's a saying, perhaps every man has had two women like this before, at least two. If you marry a red rose, over time, the red will become a smear of mosquito blood on the wall, while the white will still be the bright moonlight in front of the bed. If you marry a white rose, the white will be a grain of rice stuck on your clothes, while the red will be a cinnabar mole on your heart." Chapter 1364. Leah knew that Gu Mingming was comforting him. He loved her so much and spent all his thoughts on her. How could he not understand the heartache in her eyes? With her heartache, Leah felt that he would be punished by the heavens if he did not pull himself together. Probing carefully, Leah confirmed for the last time. You really don't despise my tribe for being so dirty and my beast father for being so deranged? Gu Mingming poked Li's chest with a smile. The deranged one is your beast father, not you. Why should I make you jealous? Moreover, who said that the Snow Fox tribe is dirty? In my eyes, you are the cleanest and prettiest vixen. Leah finally heaved a sigh of relief. He hugged Gu Mingming's waist and asked, how pretty? Gu Mingming's mood improved when she saw Leah smiling. She tapped her chin and deliberated for a while before saying, a smile that can topple a city, another smile that can topple a country, a beauty that is unparalleled in this world. Just one look at you makes me yearn for you. I can't forget you and I think of you crazily. Leah kissed Gu Mingming's little face. I can't forget you and I think of you crazily. Looks like you are really pretty. Of course, don't you know whose husband he is? Gu Mingming held Li's handsome face and kissed him. My Leah, you still look better when you smile. That gloomy look doesn't suit you. I feel so aggrieved looking at you. If you like it, I will smile for you every day in the future. Leah replied. Gu Mingming nodded. Then she stood up. All right, since everything is settled internally, shouldn't we go and settle the external debts? Leah also stood up. He held Gu Mingming's little hand. As long as you don't despise me, then everything that Cole has painstakingly arranged will be useless in front of me. Gu Mingming nodded. Then she reached her other hand out to Elvis. My cinnabar mole in my heart, accompany me to bully others. Cinnabar mole in her heart, Elvis chuckled. Gu Mingming had dispelled all the depression he felt because of the word first love. Holding Gu Mingming's little hand, he said, let me do the rough work like fighting, don't rush forward, understand? Gu Mingming nodded and smiled. I know Leah will crush him with his brain and Elvis will crush him with his physical strength. I'll just sit here and watch the show. Be good. Elvis and Leah exchanged glances, and had a tacit understanding of the situation they were going to face when they went downstairs. Although they did not believe that Gu Mingming would sit there and watch the show, but with the two of them around, she wouldn't be at a disadvantage. When he went downstairs, Miranda was hugging her knees as she curled up in a corner. She looked aggrieved as she glanced at Leah from the corner of her eyes. Leah turned a blind eye to Miranda, and only guarded Gu Mingming carefully. He then took out a stone stool, and covered it with beast skin for Gu Mingming to sit on. He bent one knee and half-squatted to accommodate Gu Mingming's height. The melons are gone now, but I remember that you love to eat Schwelling fruit. After I chase away the annoying flies, hubby will help you find some, all right? Gu Mingming had eaten the Schwelling fruit before when she was pregnant. Chapter 1365. No need, I don't really like it. Gu Mingming shook her head in rejection. Gregory, who had remained silent all this while, said, I know where to find it, I will help you find it. Before Gu Mingming could say no need, Gregory had already spread his wings and flew away. Gu Mingming thought it was a good idea. If they were to fight later and the three beast kings were fighting with their lives, Gregory, a third-level beast, would probably explode from the pressure. Anyway, he was used to traveling in the wind and snow and the outside might be safer for him than the stone castle. Hence, she gave up on the idea of chasing after him and just muttered, Thank you. Leah chuckled and said, He has flown far away and probably can't hear your thanks. But it doesn't matter. When he returns with the fruits, Elvis and I will use other things to exchange with him. We will not let him suffer for nothing. Gu Mingming nodded, feeling that this was better. Otherwise, she would not feel at ease eating the Schwelling fruits. So Agu likes to eat Schwelling fruits. Cole looked like he understood and smiled, saying, All right, I will order someone to help you search the entire beast world and pluck all the Schwelling fruits for you, all right? Gu Mingming looked up at Cole, then let out a blood-curdling howl, giving Elvis and Leah a fright. Even Cole was so shocked that he could not move. Gu Mingming pounced into Li's arms and cried out, my eyes are going blind. How can there be such a disgusting thing in this world? Sobs, sobs, sobs. It hurts my eyes. Elvis and Leah were first taken aback before they laughed. This girl. Didn't she say she was just going to watch the show? Leah patted Gu Mingming's back lightly and coaxed her with a helpless tone. All right, don't look at him if you know it hurts your eyes. What if you damage your eyes later? Gu Mengmeng nodded in agreement and said, yeah, hubby is still the best looking. Come and give me a smile. I need to wash my eyes. All right. Leah cupped Gu Mengmeng's face and gave her a bright and doting smile. His long and narrow eyes were filled with tenderness, as if he was looking at the most precious treasure in the world. Gu Mengmeng nodded in satisfaction and turned to look at Elvis. Hubby smile. Every time Elvis saw Gu Mengmeng's face, he would curl his lips out of reflex. Now that she asked him to smile, he froze. After being stunned for a long while, he finally forced a smile. Gu Mengmeng clasped her hands in front of her chest and said, so handsome. Elvis laughed out loud at Gu Mengmeng's teasing. He sighed helplessly and rubbed her head. Then he stood in front of Gu Mengmeng with Leah and used his broad back to shield her. He faced Cole and said, are you going to scram or do I have to do it? Cole smiled and asked, you and I are both Beast Kings. If we were to fight, who do you think will die first? Cole's gaze landed on Lee's face, his gaze clear. Elvis moved his neck left and right as a warm-up. I'm not Xiao Meng. I won't be threatened. Cole nodded and said, that's true. How would the little wolf cub that I trained have such a gentle heart like Agu? But doesn't Agu have something to ask me? Is it really all right for you to chase me away like this? After all, I used the soul of the forest to activate my Beast King bloodline. Chapter 1366. Leah waved his tail nonchalantly. Cole, if you use the same trick for a long time, you will become immune to it. Qi Xian is already a second-level orc now. He is an adult and no longer a cub that Gu Meng needs to protect. Even if a male beast of this age dies, it is just natural selection. How long do you think you can hold Gu Meng hostage with just Qi Xian? Cole nodded in agreement. One Qi Xian is definitely not enough. Then what if we add another Kanwu? Oh right, out of Agu's litter of cubs, Jiaoyu is the one I like the most. His eyes are so similar to Agu's, making me feel pity for him. I can't help but want to press him under my body and dote on him to comfort my longing for Agu. Gu Mengmeng jumped up from the stool. Lee's large tail swayed gently behind him, before sweeping past Gu Mengmeng's arm and landing in her arms. Leah was telling Gu Mengmeng, calm down, he is using psychological tactics to disturb you. Gu Mengmeng took a few deep breaths and forced herself to calm down. Then she hugged Lee's tail and sat back on the stone stool. With Elvis and Leah between them, she and Cole could not see each other. Cole's hearing was extremely good, and he could clearly hear the sound of Gu Mengmeng standing up in anger. It was a pity that the two eyesores in front of him stopped him, or else he would be able to see that furious little face appear in front of him. Even if it was anger and hatred, it was so beautiful when her eyes were focused on him. Slightly regretful, Cole said, Agu, I came all the way here to help you fix your house, take care of your sons, and even found supplements for Leah to level up. Aren't you going to come out and thank me? Gu Mengmeng did not say a word. She just sat behind Leah and watched how Leah and Elvis would deal with Cole. Elvis took a step forward, his fangs and claws already flashing. Cole waved his hand and said, if we were to fight, I'm afraid Solder would be destroyed. I don't mind, but Agu's favorite Sandy and her family are still here. The newly migrated wolves and your eldest son, Huda, are still here. Is it all right if they all die? Agu will cry, right? Elvis sneered. You talk a lot of nonsense. As he spoke, Elvis had already attacked Cole with his claw. Cole was right. He could not kill him because Qishuan's life was tied to Cole's. Although he did not care about Qishuan's life, Gu Mengmeng did. Elvis would never do anything that would upset Gu Mengmeng. However, killing was not the only way to torture people. Elvis's moves were very sharp and left no room for maneuver. Since Cole was also a Beast King now, it would not be easy to kill him. He could only remain invincible if he gave it his all. And Elvis and Lee's motive was to obtain his soul of the forest. As long as they could snatch Cole's soul of the forest, they would no longer have to look for the spirit of the rocky cliffs. Furthermore, they also wanted to see if Cole could grow a new one after losing the soul of the forest and having his limbs broken. Chapter 1367. While the two Beast Kings were locked in a fierce battle, Miranda, who had been curled up in a corner, crawled to Lee's feet along the wall. She grabbed onto Lee's ankle while Lee's attention was on Elvis and Cole's battle. Leah felt his ankle being touched. As he lowered his head, he had already retreated backwards. But Miranda did not loosen her grip. Because of Lee's strength, her entire body was dragged along the ground for a long distance, but her grip did not loosen at all. She raised her tear-stained face and begged bitterly. "Aya, I know you are already mated, but I don't mind. Even if you lock me in a secret chamber for the rest of my life, I am willing. I will be a very good tool for you to level up. As long as you mate with me, you will be able to level up to the 5th level very quickly. That way, you will be able to protect your females better, right? So don't push me away anymore. Just treat me as a tool, and have me properly, alright?" Gu Mengmeng was really speechless. Weren't the females in the beast world all spoiled and willful? Although Nina was the more exaggerated type, Gu Mengmeng swore that she had never seen a female who could compromise so much like Miranda. She was even more extreme than those shameless mistresses in the modern world. She really dared to say anything just to climb into Lee's bed. Gu Mengmeng stood up and walked to Leah. She stepped on Miranda's wrist and said, "Seducing my man right in front of me. You really don't want your pair of claws anymore." With that, Gu Mengmeng exerted force with her foot. The sound of bones being crushed rang out, followed by Miranda's tragic cries. Miranda's wrist was crushed by Gu Mengmeng's foot. The hand that was grabbing onto Lee's ankle naturally let go due to the pain. Leah took the opportunity to pull his foot out and carry Gu Mengmeng up. "How could you step on her? Feeling heartache?" Gu Mengmeng looked at Leah coldly. Leah nodded. "How can I not feel heartache? What if the bone fragments pierced into the sole of my foot? Moreover, those bones are so hard. Aren't you afraid of your foot being crushed? And blood so dirty? Tsk, how many times have I said this? Let me and Elvis do this kind of vulgar words. You always refuse to listen." As Leah spoke, he placed Miranda back on the stone bench, and casually pulled out a piece of inferior beast skin to cover Miranda, who was rolling on the ground. Then he picked her up and threw her to the corner of the wall. "If you come near me and my Gu Mengmeng again, I will throw you into a bonfire and make you into a barbecue." Miranda was in so much pain that she could not hear what Leah was saying. She could only roll around in the corner. Leah could not be bothered to say more to her. He just took out a stone basin and placed it on the fire to boil some hot water. After the water was warm enough, he started to wash her feet. This scene was a little strange. The two Beast Kings did not unleash their beast pressure, and were holding kitchen knives to chop the electric wires, killing each other with sparks and lightning. Meanwhile, Leah was waving his large furry tail and calmly washing Gu Mengmeng's feet. Gu Mengmeng looked up at the battle between Elvis and Cole. Elvis's attacks were all killer moves, but Cole was like a loach. He did not even fight Elvis head-on. Instead, he dodged and dodged whenever he could. He was clearly exhausting Elvis's energy. Chapter 1368. Leah washed Gu Mengmeng's little feet and wiped them dry with a beast skin. He then took out a new pair of boots for her to wear before saying, "All right, sit down obediently." Gu Mengmeng nodded. Leah then waved his large tail and stood in front of Gu Mengmeng, saying softly, "The mighty Fox King did not come to Sauter just to compete with the Wolf Clan, right?" Cole chuckled and pulled back. Elvis stopped attacking at the same time and also took a step back. He returned to Gu Mengmeng's side and stood beside Leah, blocking Gu Mengmeng completely, not allowing Cole to see a single bit of her. Elvis and Cole's earlier trembling was mostly to test each other. Even though Leah had washed Gu Mengmeng's feet in the middle, he still had a clear grasp of the general situation. At the level of a Beast King, the difference between races was already negligible. It was impossible for Elvis to suppress Cole alone, but Elvis was not the only Beast King on their side, so they still had the right to speak. Cole stood with his hands behind his back and said, "Leah, move aside." Lee's body went limp and he knelt to the side. He struggled to stand up, but he could not muster any strength at all. Gu Mengmeng remembered this scene. When the mark on the back of her neck had just changed, Wabi was also like this. Gu Mengmeng jumped up from the stool to support Leah. She glanced sideways at Cole and said coldly, "Cole, kneel down." The moment Gu Mengmeng said that, Cole indeed knelt down. This made Elvis, who had intended to attack Cole, pause. He stood back at his original spot without saying a word. Cole was also a little surprised. He wanted to stand up, but he could not muster any strength. Gu Mengmeng helped Leah up and let him sit on the little stone stool that she was originally on. Then she stood at the side and gently hugged Lee's shoulders, letting him lean into her arms. Elvis stood behind Gu Mengmeng, finally allowing Gu Mengmeng and Cole to look at each other. Gu Mengmeng laughed coldly and said, "Do you understand now? Even if you are a beast king, you are nothing in front of me." Of course. Cole seemed to especially admire Gu Mengmeng's darkened look. His face was filled with unconcealable joy and admiration. Gu is the highest existence in this world. I, Cole, am just a speck of dust under your feet. Gu Mengmeng completely ignored Cole's disgusting fawning and only stared at him coldly. "What did you do to my son?" Cole shook his head and said, "The young lords are all in a very safe place under my protection." Gu Mengmeng sneered. "Why does my son need your protection? Who do you think you are?" Cole gazed deeply at Gu Mengmeng and said gently, "Gu, have you never thought about how big of an impact Elvis would have on the beast world when he used the heart of the desert to activate the Beast King bloodline?" Gu Mengmeng frowned and did not reply. The love of the sky and spirit of the rocky cliffs that have yet to appear are protected by the beast god's enchantment. No one other than you can obtain them. The tear of the beast god and the heart of the desert were in the hands of the two beast kings, so no one dared to covet them. The key of the beast king had yet to appear, so naturally, no one dared to hope for it. Then, the remaining two treasures. Gu Mengmeng paused and her heart turned cold. Cole understood that Gu Mengmeng had figured out the crux of the matter. He continued, "I know that you once said, an innocent man gets into trouble because of his wealth. I feel that it is most suitable to be used on Qixuan." Digression. Why was Cole so intimidated by Gu Mengmeng? The reason was very simple. Gu Mengmeng had dug out Baian's heart. Let's put it this way. If you killed a tiger with your bare hands and hung the tiger's heart on your neck, I can guarantee that no stray dog in your neighborhood would dare to come near you. Dan Fan, who met your eyes, would all run away. It was the same reason. Chapter 1369. He was just a second-level orc, but he had two treasures that could make the entire beast world go crazy. That was like throwing a fat piece of meat into the wolf's den. Gu Mengmeng frowned. She was really too careless. As a mother, why didn't she consider what kind of trouble Qixuan would land himself in because of her decision? Cole continued. So, I took the soul of the forest from Qixuan's glabella, just to divert the attention from Qixuan. After all, killing a wandering fox king like me is much more justifiable than killing the messenger of the beast deity and the wolf king's son. Not only would I obtain the treasure that could activate the beast king bloodline, I wouldn't have to worry about the messenger and the wolf king settling the score. I am doing this for little Xian's sake. How can you be angry at me? Leah leaned into Gu Mengmeng's arms. Although he was in a state where he could not exert any strength, he did not look pathetic at all. Instead, he exuded a seductive charm. In contrast, Cole, who was forced to kneel on the ground by Gu Mengmeng, looked even more pathetic. Leah spoke softly. The Fox King's silver tongue can really distort right and wrong. You took the soul of the forest from Qixuan's glabella to protect him? Ha, forget it. Just like what Gu Mengmeng said, we are all vixens. You can't play strange stories from a Chinese studio in front of me. Leah wanted to stand up but failed. He still could not exert any strength, so he could only sit there and hold Gu Mengmeng's hand gently, indicating to her not to be affected by Cole. Gu Mengmeng smiled and held Lee's hand back. Only then did Leah feel at ease. You obtained the soul of the forest and activated the Beast King bloodline. Isn't this announcing to the beast world that as long as you snatch that pearl from Qixuan, you can activate the Beast King bloodline just like you? Heh. Are you protecting him or pushing him into the teeth of the storm? Cole rubbed his nose and laughed helplessly. I really can't explain myself. Raising his head, Cole looked straight into Gu Mengmeng's eyes and said, I don't mind if Gu hates me, but I will not be the scapegoat. I did not snatch the soul of the forest. It was little Xian who schemed against me and forced it on me. Gu Mingming was so angry that she laughed. She looked at Cole coldly and said, "Are you telling me that it was Qi Xian who cried and begged you to accept the soul of the forest to activate the Beast King bloodline, and then went against me?" Cole nodded in acknowledgement. Gu Mingming let out a long sigh and said, "Can you be more reliable when you're spouting nonsense?" Cole sighed. Qi Xian took the opportunity when I was not around to instigate Kanwu to lead his men to take over the territory of the stray beasts camp. Do you know about this? Gu Mingming did not respond and just stared coldly at Cole. Cole could tell from Gu Mingming's expression that she knew. Chapter 1370. Cole looked at Gu Mingming's expression and gave a bitter smile helplessly. He ruffled his hair and said, "Little Xian really guessed it right. You don't believe a single word I said. The trick I used on you in the past was used by Xian, or once again. He used it better than me and was more ruthless than me. From the looks of it now, it can be said that the student has surpassed his predecessor. Forget it, I'll take the blame for this. Just treat it as me forcefully snatching Xian, soul of the forest, and pushing him into a dangerous situation. But now that I have protected him, can this be considered as making up for my mistake? Return my sons to me," Gu Mingming said coldly. Cole smiled and said, "Gu, if I return them to you, can you take care of them? I heard that you have to go to the Mota Mountains to retrieve the love of the sky during the dry season, and then reproduce for ninth brother. You are so busy, do you still have time to take care of little Xian?" Gu Mingming said expressionlessly, "What does it have to do with you?" Cole maintained his kneeling position and looked up at Gu Mingming. "Gu, of course I have to protect your weakness so that you will not be threatened by others," Gu Mingming said. "You are the only one in the entire beast world who dares to use my sons to force me." Cole smiled and nodded, as if he had been awarded a Good Citizen award. He said with a face full of honor, "Others use your weakness to threaten you to make use of you or hurt you, but I have everyone in my hands to guide you to the correct path." Gu Mingming said, "You and I have different paths. The correct path in your eyes is definitely not the one I want to take." With that, Gu Mingming handed Leah to Elvis and walked to Cole's side. She squatted down and looked at him at eye level. "You dare to wait for me here because you think you are already a beast king and don't need to be afraid of me, right?" Cole did not say anything and just looked at Gu Mingming with a face full of bliss. This was one of the few times she took the initiative to approach him. Gu Mingming continued, "But don't forget, even if you become a beast king, you are still a lowly stray beast deep down. And unfortunately, I have become the master of the stray beasts for some unknown reason. So you should be afraid of me. You should hide in the gutter as usual, and flee the moment you smell me in the air. That way, you might be able to keep your lowly life, because I'm someone you can't afford to offend." With that, Gu Mingming's fingers pressed into Cole's right chest. That was where she had dug a hole. Gu Mingming knew that the soul of the forest was there. She reached her palm into Li's chest and stirred his flesh and blood. She felt the soul of the forest but did not take it out directly. Gu Mingming laughed coldly. "Return my sons to me and you can continue being the Beast King. Otherwise, I wonder what will happen to a person who stands at the peak and falls down. All right, I'll return it." Cole endured the excruciating pain in his chest and maintained his sinister smile. Gu Mingming retracted her hand from Cole's chest and turned to walk to Li's side. She looked back at Cole and said, "Also, I don't like it when someone acts like a beast king in front of my man. Don't forget you, the king, are under my feet." Chapter 1371. Leah held Gu Mingming's little hand and frowned, sighing softly. "How many times have I told you? Don't dirty your own hands." Gu Mingming looked at her bloodied hands and pouted, her face full of disdain. Elvis had already brought a basin of hot water down, then carried Gu Mingming out of Li's arms and placed her on his chest. Leah then dipped the animal skin in the basin in the water, carefully washing Gu Mingming's hands. Meanwhile, The wound on Cole's chest was healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. His eyes were fixated on Gu Mengmeng without blinking. Gu Mengmeng glanced sideways at Cole and said, "Now that you know your own capabilities, don't provoke me again. Qixuan's life is tied to you, so I won't kill you. But I don't mind experimenting with the Qing dynasty's 10 greatest tortures on you, making you wish you were dead. If you're smart, hurry and return my son to me, then disappear from my sight." Gu Mengmeng glared coldly at Cole, who had just regained some strength, but he instantly knelt down again. Gu Mengmeng chuckled. "I've said before, I don't like you calling me that disgusting way." Cole smiled without saying a word. He just looked at Gu Mengmeng quietly, as if he was admiring Gu Mengmeng's sinister expression, and thought it was extremely beautiful. Gu Mengmeng took a deep breath and kept telling herself not to be calculative with a pervert. Never try to understand what a pervert was thinking. Leah pinched Gu Mengmeng's little chin. "Don't dirty your hands again after you've just washed them clean, understand?" Gu Mengmeng nodded and did not say another word. She just nestled in Elvis's arms and did not look at Cole anymore. Leah walked to Cole while wagging his tail. He reached out to help Cole up. "Great Fox King, please don't blame us. Our little female is used to being willful." Cole narrowed his eyes and curled his lips coldly. He did not say a word. Gu was his. A mere loser dared to act like a male owner in front of him? Overestimating himself. Brushing Lee's hand away, Cole maintained his usual demeanor and arrogance as the city lord of Sauter. "Of course I won't be angry with Gu. Whatever Gu does in my eyes, it's all good." Leah continued to smile appropriately, elegant yet distant. He said mildly, "Then may I ask, Fox King, when do you intend to return my cub?" Cole looked past Leah and at Gu Mengmeng, replying, "On the day winter ends, I will return Gu's 3 sons. Right now, it's snowing heavily. Level 1 orcs and level 2 orcs can't walk in the snow." Leah nodded. "Great Fox King is very thoughtful. We shall do as you say." Cole was on his guard against Lee's humble attitude. There were many old and new grudges between them, and Leah should not be speaking to him with such an attitude. Leah didn't seem to notice Cole's scrutinizing gaze. He just grinned and said, "Then may I know if the Fox King has any other instructions for this visit?" Cole smiled and said, "So what if I do? So what if I don't?" Leah said, "If there is, please tell me. If not, then my little female needs to rest. Please leave." Cole asked, "What if I don't leave?" Chapter 1372. Cole's expression froze, as if something had suddenly cleared up in his mind. That's right. Why did Qixuan beat around the bush? He gave him the soul of the forest and purposely provoked him to come to Sauter to look for Gu Mengmeng. Was it just to make Gu Mengmeng hate him? No, that fellow would never do such a senseless thing. Could it be? Cole stood up and dashed into the snowstorm without looking back. He swaggered off. Gu Mengmeng looked at Leah in confusion. Could it be that Qixuan really schemed against him? Would it spoil Qixuan's plans if we let him go like this? Should I let him stay for a little longer to buy some time for Qixuan? Leah shook his head and chuckled. He looked at the snowstorm and said, "Gu, although I don't want to admit it, Cole has really taught Qixuan well. Among the 4 children, he is probably the one you don't need to worry about the least." "What do you mean?" Gu Mengmeng didn't understand. Leah waved his tail and returned to Gu Mengmeng's side. "Don't worry, Qixuan will be fine. And after this incident, Cole will probably be busy with his own matters, and won't have the time to find trouble with you." "You mean he will turn around to deal with Qixuan?" Leah nodded. It was Qixuan who caught Cole's tail and forced him to turn around to deal with him. Just based on this trick, I dare to conclude that Qixuan is definitely not someone who can be manipulated by others. He has the ruthlessness of the wolf tribe and the cunning of the fox tribe. He has also learned many things from you that he never had in the beast world. Even if he can't win Cole can't do anything to him. Your concern for him is his life-saving charm. Cole will never kill him in order to restrain you. This is his undefeatable bargaining chip. I guess that Cole has not only captured Qixuan, but also Kanwu and Jiaoyu. He must be trying to use those 2 brothers to counter Qixuan. Leah seemed to have thought of an interesting situation. He chuckled and continued. But Cole seems to have forgotten something important. Qi Xian was groomed by him, and will not lose to anyone when it comes to heartlessness. It's impossible to deal with Qi Xian in the same way he dealt with you. Moreover, that fellow Jiaoyu did not give it away for nothing. Cole did not manage to catch Huda because Jiaoyu hid Huda in advance. That means, Gu Mingming looked at Li's meaningful gaze and tried to follow his train of thought. Then she said, Qi Xian and the other 3 brothers had long communicated with each other, and knew that this day would come. Jiaoyu purposely allowed himself to be captured. The 4 of them purposely cooperated to lure him into the trap. Leah nodded. Smart. So you purposely insisted on staying in the Mota Mountains for a month, just to keep Cole here for a month. Gu Mingming tilted her head and asked. Chapter 1373. So what is he trying to do? Gu Mingming felt as if her 3 rascals were about to head to Syria with nail clippers. She said worriedly, 2 second-level beasts and 1 first-level beast. The 3 of them are not enough to defeat Cole. Why don't we go and help him? Leah shook his head and patted Gu Mingming's shoulder lightly. He smiled. If Qi Xian wanted us to help, he would have told us the last time he came. But before he left, he told me that he was worried that there would be too many people in Saint Nazaire, and there would not be enough prey for everyone. So he prepared a portion of food for the mother beast and Zacharias. But seeing how well prepared you all are, there should not be any need for it. Just in case, I will tell you that if there is not enough food, you can go to Zacharias to get more. Gu Mingming blinked. What's wrong with that sentence? Doesn't it just sound like a normal instruction? Leah chuckled. That's what I thought at first too. But now that I think about it, Elvis can't wait to move all the prey in the forest back to the stone castle. Even a family of more than 10 people like Sandy would have enough food to last an entire winter. We only have 3 people in our family. Would there be a situation where there is not enough food, and we have to go to Zacharias to get more? Gu Mingming glanced at Elvis's food storage room. Winter was already half over, but not even a fifth of the food had been consumed. She shook her head. I don't think so. Leah nodded. So, what Qi Xian meant was to tell me that if anything happens in Sauter, you can head to Zacharias. There is food prepared for you there, and it can help you survive this winter safely. But what could happen that would be so serious that you have to migrate in the middle of winter? Gu Mingming was silent for a moment. Her gaze landed on Miranda. The collective estrus of the snow foxes. Leah nodded again. But Qi Xian is a wolf. How would he know about the secret of the snow foxes going into estrus? How would he even know the exact time? Gu Mingming bit her lower lip. Cole. Leah pinched Gu Mingming's little nose. Smart. Then. So what does that rascal want? Gu Mingming was confused. Leah said, gather all the information we have. Cole wouldn't mention the snow foxes going into estrus to Qi Xian for no reason, so sending Miranda over was probably one of his plans. As for his motive, just like what he said, he wanted to make use of the snow foxes going into estrus to make me lose control and have sex with Miranda. This way, I will find that mating with her can increase my battle value. I want to quickly become stronger so that I can better protect you. Humans are always lazy. Once there is an easy way to become stronger, they can't help but sink into it. And at that time, you will definitely think that I am dirty and abandon me. In this way, Cole can enjoy my misery while tormenting you, and at the same time, achieve some of his hidden motives. Gu Mingming gritted her teeth and looked at Miranda with an increasingly cold gaze. Tugging at Li's arm, he said, when Gregory returns, let him throw this Miranda onto the Mota Mountains first. I don't want to see her. Chapter 1374. Gu Mingming took 2 deep breaths to calm herself down. She looked at Leah, waiting for him to continue his analysis. Leah played with Gu Mingming's fingers as he said nonchalantly, Qi Xian must have found out about this through some means, so he set up a trap. It's just that Qi Xuan's trap has not been fully developed, so I don't know what his exact plans are. Based on the current information, I can only deduce that he wants to use the 1-month gap between Cole waiting for you and Sauter to do something. And I feel that Gregory's return during winter to guard Sauter should have something to do with Qi. Gu Mingming held her head and shook her head, saying, Do you think Qi has entered the rebellious phase? How dare he tie his legs to the gas tank? Leah hugged Gu Mingming and comforted her softly. Don't worry too much. Thinking about how Qi could use the soul of the forest to bewitch Cole and lure him to Sauter for a month, you can tell that this child is not simple. If he has any ulterior motives, even I will fall into his trap. Moreover, Jiaoyu is working with him at the side. Just like what you said, when the brothers are of one heart, their strength can cut through metal. The worst outcome would be them falling into Cole's hands, but Cole would not dare to kill them. Gu Mingming sighed and said, We can only wait now. Cole promised to return the 3 brothers to me after winter ends, if he dares to go back on his words. Leah knew that Gu Mingming could not say kill him. It was not that she could not bear to part with Cole, but she could not bear to part with Qi. Leah chuckled and said, I am more interested in the 10 greatest tortures of the Qing dynasty you mentioned just now. Why don't you tell me about it? Let me see if there are any that can be modified to be used on Cole. Gu Mingming was worried about her 3 sons, and was filled with resentment towards Cole. Hence, she described the 10 greatest tortures of the Qing dynasty vividly through gritted teeth. Miranda, who was standing at the side, was so shocked that her eyes almost popped out. She did not dare to make a sound even though her wrist was in excruciating pain. Miranda started to feel terrified for the first time when she saw Leah, whom she thought was perfect, cooperating with Gu Mingming's words with a smile, and even looking eager to try. The perfect male in her heart was far more sinister and vicious than the old man who had imprisoned her. Those torturing methods that she had never seen or heard of before. She could imagine the scene just by listening. No wonder Leah did not save her at that time. Compared to what Gu Mingming was saying, her days as a prisoner were too blissful. That night, Gregory returned to the stone castle with 2 bags of Xueling fruits. As Gu Mingming ate the Xueling fruits, she asked Gregory if he had said anything to Qi in private before winter. Gregory thought that Gu Mingming was asking about Cole, and did not dare to beat around the bush. He directly told Gu Mingming that Qi had told him about Burke, and that protecting her silently was also a form of love. Even if he could not get anything in return, he could at least do something for her. It was better than waiting day after day in vain, and wasting his life waiting for a miracle that would never happen. Gu Mingming and Leah exchanged glances and thought to themselves that it was indeed Qishuan's doing for Gregory to guard Sauter during winter. This son really could not be underestimated. Chapter 1375. Unexpectedly, Miranda did not pester Leah anymore. Instead, she eagerly expressed her willingness to go to Mota Mountains without waiting for winter to end. She said that she was a snow fox and could endure a few days' journey. Although Gu Mingming did not know that she had frightened Miranda with her vivid description of the 10 greatest tortures of the Qing dynasty, because she was venting her hatred towards Cole, Gu Mingming was glad that Miranda did not pester Leah anymore. Hence, she took an empty wine barrel, and even kindly covered it with a few layers of beast skin. She let Miranda crawl into the wine barrel, and Gregory carried her back to Mota Mountains. Gu Mingming looked at Miranda, who was standing in the wine barrel with a face full of anxiety. She sighed and said, No matter how capable Cole is, he cannot fly to the sky. So you are relatively free and safe on Mota Mountains. Although the weather there is rather bad, as long as you treat your partners well, they will not let you suffer. But there is one thing you must remember. The birds are the most loyal followers of the beast deity. If you dare to create any trouble on Mota Mountains, I will not let you off. Miranda was already scared out of her wits by Gu Mingming. She shook her head and said, I will definitely live a peaceful life on Mota Mountains. I will not leave the mountains until I die. Great messenger, please don't worry. Gu Mingming nodded and said, That's for the best. Miranda nodded vigorously and said, I will listen to you obediently. I will definitely listen to you. Gu Mingming glanced at Miranda's broken wrist and said, Don't blame me for being ruthless. but I really don't like others touching my mails. Miranda instinctively put her hands behind her back and nodded obediently. I know. Great Messenger has already shown me mercy and is exceptionally merciful. That's right, she didn't even use any moves like grooming, cooking, skinning, carving, or death by 1,000 cuts to deal with her. She only stepped on her wrist, and that was already very merciful. Gu Mengmeng did not understand Miranda's sudden gratitude, but she did not have the time to find out. She just watched as Gregory left. Winter passed quietly as Gu Mengmeng looked forward to it day after day. When the snow sealing the windows finally shattered, Gu Mengmeng's heart finally brightened up. Elvis carried Gu Mengmeng out of the stone castle and headed straight for the deity altar. There was a chair on the altar, which was Gu Mengmeng's exclusive seat. It symbolized her divine authority and could not be violated. This was the first hunt after winter since Elvis became the Wolf King. No matter what, he could not be careless. So even though Gu Mengmeng was concerned about the children, she did not show it on her face. She just followed the rules and looked at the females in the tribe one by one, asking them how many cubs they had this winter. In the end, Lacey from the Snow Fox tribe gave birth to 9 cubs, and became the female with the most cubs for 2 consecutive years. Gu Mengmeng conferred the title of the first beauty of the tribe. Although there were many females in the Sauter tribe now, they were all sincerely convinced by this result. After all, who could be blamed if your stomach was not as good as hers? During the night campfire party, the 16 tribes came out on top. During the small rainy season, the Wolf tribe came out on top. Now that Lacey relied on her stomach to fight for the Snow Fox tribe, the 3 parties were now in a one-on-one situation. So the next round of hunting undoubtedly became a competition. Chapter 1376. The females sat around the deity altar as usual, while Leah stayed by Gu Mengmeng's side, gentle and focused, as if he could not see anything else other than Gu Mengmeng. Sauter was different from Saint Nazir. Other than the witch doctor, there was no need to hunt here. The elders also did not participate in the first hunt, partly because they were old, and partly because they were proud of their nobility, unwilling to do those barbaric jobs. So the elder stood on the first level, closest to Gu Mengmeng. He looked up at Leah, as if he had something to say but did not dare to. Thinking about it, Gu Mengmeng's display of power over Miranda last year was enough, so they did not dare to spout nonsense in front of Gu Mengmeng now. Elder Eugene, why do you keep looking at my Leah like that? Gu Mengmeng expressed her displeasure. If he had something to say, he might as well say it directly. At least she could retort if he said it directly. He kept glancing at her, as if she owed him money and he did not dare to ask for it. How annoying! Elder Eugene cleared his throat and said, "The first hunt concerns the offerings offered to the beast deity. It is an important ceremony for Sauter to express its loyalty to the beast deity. So I think that the 9th Highness should participate in the hunt. With the 9th Highness around, the Snow Fox clan will definitely be motivated and perform better." Oh! Gu Mengmeng chuckled and interrupted Eugene's words. She looked at him coldly and said, "You are afraid that Elvis will lead the Wolf clan in the first hunt again. So you want to use Leah as a mascot to boost morale, so that the Snow Fox clan can compete with the Wolf clan, right?" Elder Eugene's face froze. He felt a little guilty after his thoughts were exposed. After all, he had already offended Gu Mengmeng once because of Miranda. If it was not necessary, he really did not want to have a conflict with Gu Mengmeng. But helplessly, his name was called out. However, Elder Eugene did not know that Gu Mengmeng only knew the faces of the elders, but could not remember most of their names. This Elder Eugene's performance was too outstanding during the Miranda incident, so she remembered his name. So all the elders were looking at Leah, but Gu Mengmeng only called out his name. Gu Mengmeng sneered and leaned lazily into Lee's arms, saying, "But doesn't your Fox clan have a Beast King? If you want to raise our morale, why don't you go look for your Beast King? Ever since I came to Sauter, didn't all of you just follow your Beast King's instructions and brush me off? Don't tell me you can't find him now." When the elders heard this, their faces immediately turned green. They had already confirmed that the Fox clan had a Beast King during the winter. But it was hard to tell whether the Beast King was happy or angry. He had always been going against the messenger of the beast deity, but he did not allow others to betray her or defy her. He would kill anyone who angered her. This made the group of elders very helpless, and they did not know what to do to comply with the Beast King's wishes. Now that Gu Mingming mentioned this matter, she must be angry, right? If she were to get angry, the wrath of the Beast King might descend upon them. Thinking of this, the few old fellows trembled as they lowered their bodies and knelt together. The females of the Snowfox clan were just as afraid as the elders. Their faces were pale and they lowered their heads guiltily. Their fingertips and hair were trembling slightly. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.